Star is Born is now in theaters. Well, early showing, I got to see it, but it's now in theaters officially. The early showings have begun. And Star is Born, it's the fourth retelling of the original title of A Star is Born. I have unfortunately not seen the other three adaptations, but this adaptation I was excited for because it is Bradley Cooper's debut as a director and also stars Lady Gaga, who I haven't seen American Horror Story. I've seen the first season, but I have unfortunately not seen the rest of the show, so I didn't get to see her performance in it, but I heard it was great. So I was excited, and also just the premise of an aging musician as well as a rising star musician, and just kind of like the difference between the two, as well as the fact that they are in love with each other, and that's a premise that interested me. It's a premise as old as time, for sure, but it interested me, especially with, again, Bradley Cooper directing it. So the consensus, everyone loves it. Everyone loves it. My theater really, really liked it. I mean, everyone was silent at the end, which was nice, and everyone was very respectable towards this film, and I appreciated that. As for me, well, I'll get to the positives and negatives. First, positives. The acting is really good. Bradley Cooper, he is a master in terms of accents. I think he did such a good job, with his country accent. He showed a lot of depth, and he was just, every time he was on screen, it was just, you couldn't take your eyes off of him. Same with Lady Gaga. She was great in this film. I was impressed with her music skills more, which, oh, she's a musician. That makes sense. I'm just kidding, I knew that. But still, I mean, she's great. The music in the film is really effective, and her vocals are incredible. I do wish that she had more dramatic beats in the film, but at the end of the day, it's like her performance is more music-based because that's what she does for a living. But overall, it is a good performance. Sam Elliott's in the film, and, it did take me a minute to remember the fact that he was in The Big Lebowski, and that this is a performance unlike that. He was good in it too. I did enjoy his performance. The music, as I mentioned a little bit with the Lady Gaga's performance, but as a whole, the music of this film is really good. Especially the first time that Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga sing together. My goodness. See it in Dolby. It's worth it. Which leads to the sound editing and mixing of the music and just the score in general. It's really good. I can see this film getting nominated for Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Sound Editing, Best Sound Mixing, Picture, Director. This is also a film that tackles very serious subjects, such as alcoholism, what it means to be famous, especially in the music world. A couple other topics I'm not going to say just because they're spoilerish, but this is a film that it's just wrapped in a bow for Oscar contention, and I can see it. It's written on the wall, and it's what's even more perfect about it is the fact that audiences love it. It's got that a rollover to it, where it's like you have these relatable characters, and that way, being relatable as well as for critics, it has that artistic part about it, and I get it. I do. But this is a film for me that reminds me of Braveheart. Now, hold the phone. I like Braveheart. I do. But Braveheart is a very uneven film. And A Star is Born is also really uneven. I would say even more than Braveheart, which is a surprise, honestly. A Star is Born, it takes a while to get going. When it does, it is good. Don't get me wrong. But it's very bumpy. And there are some shots in the film also that just feel very off. And not just off and like he's trying to be artsy. It's like, no, it just felt like there were certain scenes that didn't work with the camera usage that they were trying, and also the color palette in some scenes. With that said, there were also some neat shots though, so it's like it's a mixed bag in terms of cinematography, but also the story, it just kind of, again, I think the first half for me was just kind of like, all right, let's get to the meat of the story, because at the end of the day, as likable as the characters were, you couldn't help but just kind of feel as though you've seen all this before. And again, it is a story as old as time, but I don't know, I just kind of wish that there was more meat to it. And again, the second half, there is more meat to it, but I don't know. I felt like there were some pacing issues as well as the length is. I think it's 2 hours and like 15 minutes. It felt too long. I don't know. I feel as this is an admirable effort for sure from Bradley Cooper, and by no means am I saying that all the Oscar nominations it's going to get, it's unwarranted. Like, I'm not saying that completely, but I am saying as of right now, I don't think it's the great film that everyone's saying, but I appreciate people thinking that. I do. But for me personally, A Star is Born, I'll be giving it a 3.75 out of 5-star rating. For those like hot sauce is great. Texas Pete, solid rating. Again, I respect if someone loved this movie or didn't like this movie. I can see both sides, but I also just feel like, some people are like, oh, that's lower, or oh, I'm surprised you give that high of a rating. Honestly, some of it just comes down to the spoilers. I can't get into it. I can't, especially because I'm filming this early. I just can't. But later on in the year, maybe I'll mention some of the spoilers. But for now, A Star is Born, it's solid. It's solid. It's worth a watch. And if you're a casual audience member watching this review, I don't mean to sound pretentious, but you'll love it. It's that type of film. And for critics, I get why you love it too. I'm a critic too, but for me, I'm ahead of the curve, I guess you could say. I'm just kidding. That's really pretentious. But guys, at the end of the day, Star is Born. Did you guys like it? Did you guys not? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and